guys, it's Gretchen and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is gonna be kind of an update video on something that is a pretty big part of my life, but not something that I talk too much about on my channel anymore. I do every year. I always say that I hope to do more videos related to this content, but then Pearson videos just kind of seem to take over and I never get around to it. But I'm hoping to actually change that this year. And so today's video is pretty much just an update on 4 years post weight loss surgery. In case you don't know, I had weight loss surgery. I had something specifically called vertical sleeve gastrectomy. Basically what it entails is 80% of my stomach was just like cut off and pulled out near my belly button. There's like a little incision down there and they just pulled out that 80%. And I was left with something that is roughly the size of like half to 2/3 of a banana in size. So today's video is just 4 years post VSG. You know, how things are, what's different now that, you know, wasn't the same a year out or something like that, or even 2 years out or 3 years out. What has changed? What is the same? How am I feeling? What are some things I've noticed at this point? Kind of hard to believe that it's been 4 years. I honestly can't believe that. Just a little bit of background information. I like to start off these types of videos with that background information just for anyone that might be curious or is even looking into weight loss surgery themselves so they can kind of get a rough idea of where I was when I went through the process. So my surgery was done April 4th, 2017. It was done the day before my 27th birthday. Happy birthday to me! My heaviest weight that I got to was roughly 245. My surgery weight was 235, so they make you go through this whole process of 2 weeks prior where you just can't eat a whole lot. You can eat some things, but not a whole lot. The day that I went for my surgery, I was 235, so I lost 10 pounds in that 2-week time span. The lowest weight that I got to was about 127. I am currently 138 and my happy weight is kind of like 133 to 135. And just for reference, I am 5'6" in height. Other little things, so my starting sizes, I was roughly a size 18 in pants. I was an XL or XXL in tops and dresses. I was a size 9 shoe, which a lot of people don't think about how your feet will shrink too when you lose weight, because my feet did shrink. So now my current sizes are, I am comfortable at a 4 for pants, a small for tops and dresses. Sometimes I can do an extra small, but I do kind of like a little looser feel to it. So I do tend to stick with smalls. And my shoe size is 7.5 or 8 depending on the shoe. So I went from a 9 to a 7.5. My feet shrunk. So that's just some background information about where I was and where I am now and how far down I got and all that fun stuff. So I've roughly lost 120 plus pounds altogether. So some things I just kind of want to touch on are portion sizes that I can do now as opposed to when I got the surgery done, as well as things that I eat, things that I do, things that I'm, you know, thinking about 4 years out and whatnot, as well as where it goes from here. So I was asked by someone to specifically talk about portion sizes. I was just gonna stick with like things that I eat, but I am gonna talk a little bit about portion sizes because that has changed in 4 years. So it used to be that protein shakes, they are like a big staple for bariatric patients. It used to be that it would take me 2 hours to drink a protein shake like Premier Protein, which is high in protein and very low in carbs and sugar. So whereas it used to take me 2 hours, I can get through one of those in about 30 minutes. This is not to scare anyone about weight loss surgery. People are always like, oh my God, you can stretch your stomach out, you can stretch your stomach out. You can a little bit, but also it's the fact that your stomach gets used to it. Like a year out, your stomach may still be kind of getting used to things, whereas 4 years out or more, your stomach's like, all right, this is old news, this is old hat, I've got this down, I can handle this now. So it's not necessarily that you've stretched your stomach out, which is a possibility, but it's highly unlikely. It's more so that your stomach's just used to it now. So things like protein shakes, I can get through one of those in 30 minutes as opposed to 2 hours like it used to take me. Whether it's carbs or protein that I'm ingesting, I can eat a whole lot more in one sit-in now than I could a year out from my surgery. So let's take something for example. And this is not me saying, oh my gosh, fast food, like go out and get it right now. No, I'm just showing you an example, an easy to grasp example. Filet-O-Fish, fish fillet, whatever you want to call it, from McDonald's. Take that for instance. I can eat half of one of those in one sitting, wait 30 minutes or maybe even an hour, come back and eat the other. Could not do that a year out. I would take maybe 2 bites and then I would be done. Like, it would fill me up, wouldn't be able to do more. I also, a year out, would take one of the bread slices off. Haven't been doing that recently, and that's a really bad habit that I've gotten into, and I really need to get away from it. When anything involves bread, I used to take one slice off and now I haven't been, which is a really bad habit. So, something I need to work on. I'll get to those in a little bit, but that is one thing. Again, this is not me endorsing fast food, but it is also me saying you don't have to give up fast food. If that is your only option right then and there, just make smart choices on what you're getting from a fast food place. And it's to show that, yes, I still can eat things that I like, things that I want. You just have to do it in moderation, you have to be conscious of it, and you have to make sure that it's not an everyday thing. I am constantly reminded that carbs are in no way, shape, or form filling. I can sit there with an entire bag of Smart Food popcorn, which is like my biggest weakness ever. I can sit there with an entire bag and just mindlessly eat it. It's kind of obnoxious. However, if I go to eat something with a bunch of protein in it, say I've cooked a chicken breast, I'll take 3 to 4 bites and be full. Usually it's around the 3 bite mark. Now these are not tiny bites, these are normal size bites, but at that time, I get full. So it's a constant reminder to myself to be like, hey, eat your protein first. Stop going for the carbs as much as we love them. Stop going for them first. Go for your protein. That's what you need to get in first. Now, this is not to say that you can't have carbs at all. Believe me, I love carbs. Carbs and I are like, a little too close. But I think what happens with weight loss surgery is a lot of people get scared that they'll never be able to eat certain things ever again. There may be things that you can't eat ever again. For me, I know that I cannot eat real pasta because that was my biggest weakness prior to surgery. I would fix an entire box of pasta and eat it in one sitting. Not an exaggeration at all. I would do that. So for me, I know that I can never have real pasta again. That being said, I can do something like veggie pasta or chickpea pasta. Yes, they still have carbs, but they are nowhere near as high in carb content as regular pasta is. They also have a little bit more protein. Not a lot, because it's still pasta at the end of the day, but more so than regular pasta. I've been thinking about doing a video where I just kind of talk about misconceptions about weight loss surgery, because that was one of mine, was that I went into surgery going like, oh my God, I'll never be able to have chocolate again. That's a lie, but I digress. So getting back to the portion sizes, it's really a battle of reminding myself, hey, do your protein first, and then you can enjoy a few carbs. You may not want it at that point because you're full from the protein, but that's fine. Also, anytime I go out to eat, I always come home with leftovers. Always. Enough for like 2 meals after that, which is great. So like some people will be like, oh, well, once you've had your weight loss surgery, when you go to a restaurant, just ask for like a kid's menu or get a small portion or something like that. You don't necessarily need to do that. Get your money's worth, because then you have 2 more meals after the one that you're currently eating at the restaurant, or picked up from the restaurant, or had delivered from the restaurant. In fact, I have DoorDash coming within the next 10 minutes to deliver food for me for lunch, because it is lunchtime right now. And I know that's gonna last me lunch today, dinner tonight, and lunch tomorrow. It's great. I really get my money's worth. So even though I can eat more now than I could 6 months out, a year out, 2 years out, I still find that I'm not eating anywhere near what I would eat prior to surgery. All right, so getting back to the things that I do eat. I do my best to get protein in. I have found that certain meats, I'm bored with them and they just don't taste very good, so I do struggle with protein. I usually just stick with seafood and chicken because beef doesn't always settle right with me. I am not a huge fan of pork. I'll do those on occasion, but mostly I stick with chicken and seafood. Protein shakes are still a part of my daily life. I absolutely love specific kinds of protein shakes. Sometimes the Premier Protein ones can leave a little bit of an aftertaste. That's the one that the bariatric community like endorses. They absolutely love Premier Protein. I do too. It's not my favorite, but it's still good. Basically, what you're looking for with protein shakes is super high in protein and low in carbs and sugar. There are a few out there. believe me. And there are a lot of good ones. Like I mentioned, pasta was my biggest weakness before surgery, so I have found that while I can't have real pasta probably ever again, I can do things like chickpea or veggie pasta or any kind of substitute pasta. Because as a reminder, there are carbs in there, not nearly as much as the regular item. Bad habits. I say every year I'm gonna break these bad habits and then I just don't. Candy. Yikes. Candy is a huge bad habit of mine. I kind of go in like trends of what I'm feeling at the time. I've completely gotten away from M&Ms right now because I think I overdid them. Still like them, but I've gotten away from them just because I think I overdid them for a bit. And now just regular old Hershey bars, sometimes with almonds, but more often than not just a regular old Hershey bar makes me so very happy. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with me enjoying that every so often, not several times a week like I was getting to. So bad habits can creep back up. You know, just because I'm 4 years out doesn't mean that those bad habits are just gonna go away forever. Believe me, it's almost harder now than it was a year out from my surgery. Because at least a year out from my surgery, I was still scared about doing anything wrong. 4 years out, I'm just like, let's see the limits that I can press today. Let's see how far I can go before I make myself ill, which is not a really good practice to do. I've also started eating sandwiches again, mostly when I go to someplace like Wawa or Sheetz. If that's the fastest thing nearby, I'll go and order a sandwich. And I've been doing really bad because I've been leaving both slices of bread on when before I would take one off and then just kind of roll it up. Bad habits can form. Bad habits can come back. That being said though, when I make sandwiches at home, I have fallen completely in love with one product. And it's the Mission Foods Carb Balance wraps. They are phenomenal. Each wrap is roughly 4 net carbs and 5 grams of protein. Can't beat that. Like, that is amazing. So what I'll do is sometimes I'll make a wrap where it's like a turkey wrap with lettuce, pickles, and onions, and then that just makes me happy. Or fun thing that I'll do is I will fold a tortilla in half, split it in half, and then I'll do American cheese slices. Don't anyone say anything about American cheese. American cheese is delicious. I will do basically a cheese sandwich. So I'll take 1/2 of the tortilla. I will put 3 slices of American cheese down, put a little bit of mayonnaise, take that other half that I tore off on top, cut off the excess sides, and then I've made myself a cheese sandwich. And it's delicious. Oh my God, it's probably one of my favorite things to eat right now. Some people will tell you that cheese is bad. Oh no, cheese. There are far worse things than cheese, I promise. So that's something that I absolutely love right now are my cheese sandwiches. Oh, they're so good. Eat them with a pickle spear. Now I kind of wish I didn't do DoorDash. And now I want that instead. I'll do that later. But speaking of cheese, I have found that since my surgery, if I do too much dairy of any kind, my stomach gets very wonky still. Also, did I mention that my stomach has a name? I did name my stomach after the surgery. Her name is Serena the Sassy Stomach because what she says goes. So sometimes dairy, if I do too much of it, Serena is not happy. Like, I used to love Halo Top ice cream. Ugh, I miss Halo Top ice cream so much, but Serena, not a fan. Really dislikes it now. Used to like it, dislikes it now. I can do things like cheese pretty well. I can do like maybe 1 yogurt every other day. If I try to do a yogurt every day, it gets really wonky in there. Cannot do regular milk at all. Not a fan of regular milk anyway. I really like almond milk and oat milk. Dairy never used to bother me before my surgery. Too much of it now can. Something that a lot of bariatric people do, but I don't, is I don't have like a set of macros that I focus on that I need to reach every day. I probably should though. It might help me in the long run. So what macros are just the nutrients that you need to be taken into your body every single day so that you either maintain or you lose and just relatively stay all around healthy. So in this case, this would be like your carbs, your protein, your fat, anything like that. Moving on to something that I still struggle with 4 years out are supplements. So I cannot take any of the bariatric specific supplements because they make me incredibly nauseous. There are multivitamins that are specifically formulated for bariatric patients, but they are so heavy in certain things like iron that it just screws my stomach up so much that I will literally throw up 5 minutes after I've ingested them. So instead, I just take a 1-a-day multivitamin. No big deal. Those are better. However, I'm really bad at remembering to take them because whereas all of my other like pills or supplements that I take in the morning don't need food, the multivitamin does because if I don't take it with food, it does make me nauseous. Not enough to throw up, but enough to make me nauseous and miserable. And so I forget sometimes just because it's not with the other things that I take. And speaking of other things that I do take Biotin every single day. It has really helped my hair, as did cutting all my hair off back in the spring of 2019. As much as I hated it when it was short, it really did help my hair get better. Also, hair loss is definitely a part of the weight loss journey. So if you are thinking about weight loss surgery, just know that hair loss, 99% chance it'll happen. I can promise you that. It usually remedies itself, but not always. And the final thing I'm gonna touch on for this update, plastics. Am I considering plastics? So for the longest time, I was like, no, I'm not thinking about it, not considering it. I'm thinking a little bit more about it now, specifically a tummy tuck. And that is because I lost 120 plus pounds, and even though I feel good about myself, I look good in clothes, I really just don't like the look of the loose skin when I look at myself. It bothers me, which is why I'm really happy that high-waisted pants are a thing now, because that makes me feel better. When I look at myself, I don't like that loose skin, so I am kind of toying with the idea of a tummy tuck. At one point, I was thinking about a breast augmentation. Oh no, she's talking about boobies. I was thinking about it, but because I did gain a little bit of weight from my lowest, which again was 127, and now I'm like 137, 138, I have found that my boobs may have actually gotten that weight, and now they fill out my bras better and I feel better about them. So if you've had weight loss surgery, or if you get it and then you realize that you've gotten to this low point and then you gain a little bit of weight back, not always a bad thing. I filled out better in certain areas and now I'm happy with it. But I am still considering a tummy tuck just because the loose skin, I just don't like the look of it. But I don't know yet. I may just deal with it. Basically comes down to, would I rather deal with the loose skin? Would I rather deal with a scar? So that is just a 4-year post VSG update for those curious. I do hope to do more weight loss surgery related content because it's a big part of me. It's a big part of who I am and how I got to be at this point. I don't regret ever having weight loss surgery. Absolutely, it changed my life. If you have any questions related to weight loss surgery, leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. It may just be based off of my experience, but yeah, feel free to ask me anything. Special thank you to my patrons. You can help support the channel on Patreon while having access to videos early, viewing patron-only content, and more. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big ol' thumbs up. Go on down there and hit that subscribe button, wherever it may be, because I don't know, even though I do, this is just my shtick now. Also hit that notification bell in case you want to know when I upload, and in case YouTube wants to let you know when I upload, because I would really appreciate it. And until next time, bye guys!